In 2008, Jack White and The Edge sat across from Jimmy Page on a Los Angeles soundstage and watched him play the opening riff to Whole Lotta Love. Both men had grown up with that riff. Both had built careers on instruments influenced by it. And when Page's fingers actually found the notes in front of them, cameras caught both guitarists reacting like awestruck kids, not like peers, not like fellow rock stars, but like fans who couldn't quite believe they were in the room. That moment is the clearest evidence of something that separates Page's reputation from almost every other guitarist of his generation. It isn't just that he influenced the players who came after him. It's what happens to those players decades into their own famous careers, the moment they're actually standing next to him. The documentary was It Might Get Loud, a 2008 film that placed three guitarists from three different generations and three radically different musical worlds in the same room. Page, the elder statesman of arena rock; The Edge, the architect of U2's atmospheric effects-driven sound; and Jack White, the garage rock minimalist who'd built the White Stripes out of deliberately stripped-down blues. On paper, the pairing looked almost arbitrary. In practice, the film captured something that no interview alone could have shown: what actual reverence looks like on the face of someone who has already achieved enormous success in his own right. The Edge described the moment directly, years later. "I was just so into the whole thing," he said. "I think you can really see that by the look on my face and on Jack's face when Jimmy started playing Whole Lotta Love, which is just the quintessential guitar riff of all time." He admitted to studying Page's hands in real time, trying to catch the exact fingering. "I was trying to look at his fingering, trying to figure out how he was doing it," he said. "It's one of those things you grow up with. It's embedded in you like a nursery rhyme." White's description of the same moment reached for an even larger comparison. "A song like Whole Lotta Love, we know it so well," he said. "It's like background music or the Bible or a street sign. But to see the original fingers playing it, it's like going inside the pyramids or something. The pyramids." Not a compliment about technique or tone, a comparison to encountering something ancient and foundational, a thing you'd absorbed as environment rather than art, suddenly revealed to have an actual human source sitting 3 feet away. Page's own regard for the two guitarists sharing the screen with him ran in the opposite direction: genuine, specific respect rather than the awe he was receiving. Asked about White directly, Page didn't hedge. "Jack White is an extraordinary person," he said, "because he's like a three-dimensional chess player. He thinks so far ahead." It's a striking description coming from a musician 30 years White's senior, framing the younger guitarist not as an heir or an imitator, but as a genuinely sophisticated strategic thinker in his own right. That mutual respect extended beyond the documentary itself. Page, White, and The Edge reunited on stage for a genuine collaborative performance, playing In My Time of Dying together, a deep cut from Physical Graffiti, chosen specifically because it let all three men actually play together rather than simply trade solos. They also performed The Weight, the band's 1968 classic, in a loose campfire-style arrangement using acoustic guitars, the kind of unstructured jam between friends that only works when the mutual respect in the room is genuine rather than performed for cameras. Slash's account of encountering Page carries a different texture entirely. Not a staged documentary moment, but the specific, unscripted discomfort of a working musician discovering his hero was in the audience while he was still on stage. Around 2005, touring the UK with Velvet Revolver, Slash played a show at the Hammersmith Odeon. Partway through the day, he learned that both Jimmy Page and Brian May were coming to watch. "I get probably as starstruck," if not more starstruck than the average person, Slash admitted afterward. You have to keep your cool and try not to make anybody uncomfortable by telling them what a big influence they are on you right away. I think that's unnerving. It is for me because I don't know how to react. He described Page actually showing up at his tour bus door before the show, Slash had been asleep, and then encountering Brian May backstage just before going on. Both men, he said, sat at the side of the stage for the entire performance. Talk about just being really uncomfortable, Slash said. But they're lovely guys. Really, really down to earth. And I was really happy to meet them and also to find that they were sort of human. That last detail is the one worth sitting with. Slash, by 2005, was himself one of the most recognizable guitarists alive, a musician who had already sold tens of millions of records with Guns N' Roses. And meeting Page still registered as one of the most intimidating experiences of his career. Not because Page did anything to make it that way, but because of what Page's playing had already meant to him for decades before they ever stood in the same room. What emerges across all three accounts, The Edge and White's documentary Reverence, Page's own specific respect for White's musical intelligence, Slash's unfiltered account of starstruck discomfort, is a portrait of influence that operates differently than simple admiration. These are not casual fans describing a childhood hero. They are accomplished, successful musicians in their own right. People who have spent careers being the object of exactly this kind of reverence from others, and who still, in the specific presence of Jimmy Page, found themselves reduced to something closer to the kids who first heard Whole Lotta Love on a record and had no idea at the time whose actual fingers were making that sound. Page, for his part, seems to receive all of it with the same dry, understated humor that colors most of his public reflections on his own career. Asked once to sum up everything he'd built across Sessions' work, the Yardbirds, and Led Zeppelin, he offered exactly 6 words. I suppose, all in all, it's a fair body of work. The guitarists who grew up on that body of work would put it rather differently.